Right now, in a fire station in Livermore, California, a single light bulb is burning. It is not a modern high-tech LED or a specialized military-grade prototype. It is a hand-blown carbon filament bulb manufactured by the Shelby Electric Company. It was turned on in the year 1901. As we sit here in February of 2026, that bulb has been burning almost continuously for 125 years. It has outlived the people who made it, the people who installed it, and 4 full generations of firefighters who worked under its orange glow. Now, I want you to look at the phone in your hand or the computer screen in front of you. Look at the washing machine in your laundry room or the refrigerator in your kitchen. Your grandparents had appliances that lasted 30 or 40 years without a single service call. Today, you are lucky if a smart fridge lasts 7 years before the control board fries and a repairman tells you it is cheaper to buy a new one than to fix it. We have been conditioned to accept this as the natural evolution of technology. We tell ourselves that things are just more complicated now, so they must be more fragile. But that is a bold-faced lie. The reason your great-grandmother's toaster still works while your 2026 model is already a piece of junk is not because we forgot how to build things. It is because a group of men in suits met in a room in Switzerland a century ago and decided to steal your wealth by engineering failure into every product you buy. This is the hidden history of planned obsolescence. It is a slow-motion robbery that drains your bank account every single month of every single year. Before we uncover the invisible strings the giant corporations are pulling to turn you from an owner into a permanent subscriber, please take a moment to support this work. If you are tired of things breaking the day after the warranty expires, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring these hidden truths to light for more people. Also, please leave a comment below and tell me about the oldest appliance or tool you still own that works perfectly. Let us celebrate the things that were actually built to last. To understand why our modern world is filled with high-priced garbage, we have to go back to Christmas time in 1924. In Geneva, Switzerland, the top executives from the world's biggest light bulb manufacturers gathered for a secret meeting. They represented companies like General Electric, Osram, and Philips. At that time, their engineers were simply too good at their jobs. They had mastered the art of making light bulbs that could last for 2,500 hours, or even longer. For you, the consumer, this was a miracle. But for the corporations, it was a financial catastrophe. If you sell a bulb that lasts forever, you sell it once, and then your market is saturated. It is the ultimate capitalist nightmare. A product so good that it destroys the company that makes it. So, these companies formed a secret cartel called the Phoebus Cartel. Their mission was not to improve the light bulb, but to intentionally break it. They signed a formal agreement to artificially limit the lifespan of every light bulb to exactly 1,000 hours. This was not just a suggestion. It was a strictly enforced law within the global industry. They created a bureaucracy of failure. Manufacturers were required to send samples of their bulbs to a central testing laboratory in Switzerland. If a factory produced bulbs that lasted too long, say 1,500 hours, that factory was hit with massive fines. Think about how twisted that is. Brilliant engineers were punished for doing good work and rewarded for making things fragile and temporary. They were forced to re-engineer the filaments to be thinner and more prone to burning out. By the 1940s, the 1,000-hour bulb became the global standard. The cartel eventually dissolved as World War II broke out, but the structural damage was done. They had proven that you could make far more money by selling a broken product twice than a perfect product once. This became the dominant business model of the 20th century. But light bulbs were just the beta test. In the 1920s, the car industry was facing its own version of this crisis. Henry Ford was selling the Model T, and it was a marvel of reliability. It was cheap, sturdy, and easy for any farmer to fix with a simple wrench. But once everyone owned a Model T, Ford's sales started to flatline because people simply kept their old cars for decades. Enter Alfred Sloan, the head of General Motors. He looked at the light bulb cartel and realized he could not make cars that exploded after 2 years because that would ruin his brand. So he invented what he called dynamic obsolescence. He realized he did not have to break the machine. He only had to break your satisfaction with the machine. He introduced the annual model change. He changed the headlights, the tail fins, and the colors every single year. He made sure that if you drove a 1923 Chevy in 1925, everyone in your neighborhood would know you were driving an old car. He weaponized your ego against your bank account. He turned the automobile from a tool into a status symbol. This is exactly why we see the same cycle today with every new smartphone release. Does the new model do anything radically different than the one you bought last year? In almost every case, the answer is no. But it has a slightly different camera layout or a new titanium finish. That visual signal tells the world you have the newest version. And that signal is worth billions of dollars to the corporations. As we move through 2026, the game has evolved into something even more dangerous. We have moved from physical fragility to digital fragility. In the past, a company had to physically thin a wire to make it burn out. Today, they just send a software update to your device. Consider the case of smartphone manufacturers who were caught slowing down older models. They claimed it was to preserve battery life, but the timing always seemed to coincide with the launch of the newest version. This is the digital version of the Phoebus Cartel. They are using code as a weapon to force you into an upgrade that you do not actually need. Think about the right to repair movement. Companies like Apple and John Deere have argued for years that you do not actually own the hardware you paid for. They claim you only own a license to use it. They put digital locks on the parts so that if you try to replace a battery yourself, the device bricks itself. Even if the new part is genuine, the software refuses to recognize it unless a certified technician enters a secret code. They have engineered a world where repair is impossible, not because of physics, but because of corporate policy. This creates what I call the replacement tax. Let us look at the math, because this is how they keep you from building real wealth. If you buy a laptop for $1,000 that is glued shut and has a non-replaceable battery, you are not an owner. You are a long-term renter. When that battery inevitably dies in 3 years, the entire $1,000 machine becomes trash. If that laptop had been designed with screws instead of glue, you could swap the battery for $50 and keep using it for a decade. That single design choice costs you $950. Now, multiply that by your phone, your headphones, your vacuum cleaner, and your car. Over a 40-year working life, this replacement tax can cost a typical household over $100,000 in lost wealth. You are bleeding money every decade simply because corporations refuse to let you maintain your own property. This leads us to the final evolution of this conspiracy, the subscription trap. Corporations realized that even if they make things break, there is still a gap where you are not paying them. So they stopped selling products and started selling services. We are entering an era where you will own nothing. Automobile companies have tried to charge monthly fees for heated seats that are already installed in the car. They are literally putting a paywall behind a physical button in your own vehicle. Software companies no longer sell you a disc. They rent you the tools for $50 a month forever. If you stop paying, you lose access to your own work. This guarantees that your wealth is constantly drained month after month, leaving you with no assets to show for it at the end of your life. This is especially dangerous for retirees who are living on fixed incomes. When you stop being an owner and become a permanent subscriber, you lose your financial freedom. You are on a treadmill of consumption that is designed to keep you running in place until you have nothing left. What is most frustrating is that our entire global economic system now relies on this waste to function. Economists call it the paradox of thrift. If every person watching this video suddenly decided to only buy products that lasted 20 years, the global economy would collapse tomorrow. Factories would close, stock markets would crash, and the gross national product would plummet. Our prosperity is literally built on a foundation of trash. We dig materials out of the earth, turn them into products, sell them to you, and you bury them in a landfill a few years later. If that cycle slows down, the entire financial system fails. We have built a civilization that survives by destroying itself. But you do not have to be the fuel for that engine. There is a way to opt out of this cycle of failure and protect your hard-earned money. It starts with a shift in your mindset. In a world of planned obsolescence, the word new often just means value engineered. It means the manufacturer has figured out how to use cheaper plastic and thinner metal than the previous version. You must reject the idea that newer is always better. In 2026, we are seeing the peak of this disposable culture. Even high-end appliances are now built with plastic gears that are designed to strip after a few thousand cycles. When you need a tool or an appliance, look for the commercial-grade version. Look for the products that hotels, restaurants, or hospitals use. These items are built for high volume and durability. They may cost twice as much up front, but they are built with screws instead of glue. They are built to be repaired and often last 10 times longer than the consumer version. Check the repairability scores on websites like iFixit before you buy any piece of technology. If a laptop gets a score of 1 out of 10, it is a disposable toy, not a tool. If you cannot open it with a standard screwdriver, do not buy it. If the company refuses to sell you spare parts or publish repair manuals, they are not your friend. They are scamming you. Every time you fix a toaster or a vacuum cleaner, instead of throwing it away, you are committing a small act of rebellion. You are keeping your capital in your pocket instead of handing it over to a billionaire executive. The spirit of the Geneva meeting in 1924 is still running the global economy today. Every time a hinge snaps on your laptop, or your printer tells you it is out of ink when the cartridge is still heavy, remember that it was not an accident. It was a deliberate design choice. It was a slow-motion robbery of your time, your money, and your labor. The only way to stop the robbery is to refuse to buy the junk. Be the person who drives the 15-year-old car that runs perfectly because you maintained it. Be the person who uses the vintage cast iron pan that will be passed down for 3 more generations. Be the glitch in their algorithm of waste. If this analysis made you rethink the devices in your home, please share this video with someone who is tired of the cycle. We need to wake up to the fact that we are being played by the masters of failure. Please hit the like button if you found this information valuable, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the hidden economics of our world. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on how to protect your wealth in this changing economy. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.